Welcome to the Jeff Knows Inc. Entrepreneurial Show with your host, Jeff Lopes.
We are live on the Jeff Knows Inc. podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Lopes. I got a special guest on this week for a 6-minute hump day, a buddy of mine, Chris Ross. He's going to give us a little sales 5-minute lesson on anchoring and framing. Let's go, brother. Let's hit it.
All right, let's dive right in, right? Let's cut the bullshit.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I want everyone to understand something. When I say the word sales, some people have certain reactions when it comes to hearing that word.
Interesting.
Understand this. Next one is manipulation. Some people have a certain reaction and a different reaction when we use the word manipulate. Manipulate is not a bad word. It's the intention behind that, okay?
Yes.
When you're in sales, it's all about sharing a vision. You need to explain and communicate your vision through commonality, connecting, building rapport. It needs to be natural, and it needs to come across in a certain way where you're not trying to be persuasive. The first thing is connecting, and all you need to be doing is anchoring and framing. That's it. You've been doing it your whole lives, and you're already masters at it. I'm just going to shine a light on it real quick, just so you can see and identify it now. Anchoring is all about dropping a certain emotion to whatever story they have. When you're framing, you're sharing a vision. You're trying to paint the picture. So think about you see this box right here, right? You see another box over here. It's all about coloring, stenciling out and drawing a picture. Then you want to paint the picture to make it a little bit more presentable and seeing the bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
That's what framing is all about, is you're explaining what their experience is going to be with you, company, product, whatever you're trying to sell. But if you're practicing this, it's all about you framing what you're about to go through with them. And I'll make an example. Jeff, the reason why I have you on a call right now is for me to try to explain to you the purpose and the message behind the next phase of your training, if you're doing product, service, or good, or whatever that might be. My goal is for you to have 100% clarity and for you to ask me any questions, comments, concerns you might have that might deter you away from understanding the real purpose and the message behind what I'm going to explain with you. From what I just mentioned to you, what did you hear? And then they're going to tell me.
Yeah.
Paraphrase in their own words, and then I'm going to start. That was a frame. I just framed the whole experience for them.
You're painting the picture to them.
So that way, when they get there, now that I'm in this uncomfortable place of asking questions, digging into talking about certain emotions, and trying to remove certain anchors if it's negative.
Yeah.
Tied into a story now, because that's a very emotional time for them, and they don't want to go and share that type of experience with somebody that doesn't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It needs to be non-judgmental. It needs to take the emotions out of it, because you're willing and you have the ability to deal with that negative shit if you have to go through that. That's what I make people feel for me, is that they feel that I am there to do whatever I need to do to help them understand what is needed and sometimes desperate for them to move forward. There's one thing that you can always do is make sure that you're increasing the overall experience of your buyers to turn them into a lifelong client, and you do that through connection and how you make them feel.
The rapport part.
And you're painting a picture and sharing a vision.
Yeah, I love it.
And you take it, if you do those two things, and I know I mentioned a couple other ones that kind of frame it into the bigger picture, so you give a little bit more idea, but anchoring and framing are the two most important skills that you're going to need to acquire to be a great communicator. You notice I didn't say salesperson.
Yeah.
Great communicator. There's certain things that you could probably tell that I speak with a lot of passion, a lot of authority, but I don't communicate this way with everybody. I communicate in a way that they need to receive the message. That's a whole other topic.
Yeah, I know where you're going with that, but yeah, 100%. This is awesome, brother. Is there anything else you want to top on top of that?
You want to put a cherry on it? We can go into how to frame the next part of the conversation for them.
Let's do that.
Say for instance, you have a phenomenal first call, and I was able to explain the purpose and the message behind everything, and for them to provide them 100% clarity. They know exactly what they need to do. Here's how I go about setting up the next set of calls or the next business encounter. Jeff, from what I went through with you today, and we can get into any questions, comments, concerns you might have, and there's a time for that. Okay. But from what we went over together, is there anything that you feel that I need to know at this time that might be beneficial for us in the future?
So you're painting the picture of the future already together, working together. Yeah. So
here are some of the things that I'm going to mention to you. So you're going to watch XYZ steps or whatever the steps are, or whatever the process is. So it could be going into a meeting. It could be going into wherever. You need to make sure when they are about to experience that on their own, they're not going to have the oh shit. And when people have the oh shit, it comes from you not framing and explaining and providing them 100% clarity of what's going to happen. What's going to happen in this phase is you're going to go through these set of videos, and you're going to watch these videos, and from these videos you're going to have your own experience, and you have your own emotions, you have your own stories tied into that with the anchors and all these other things that you have going on in experiences in life. Here's what a lot of my students, here's what a lot of people feel when they watch something like this, because it's all about mindset. But I want you to understand it's okay, and if that does happen, I want you to write it down. Don't do anything from that other than give me an opportunity to be able to have a conversation with you at a later time that's appropriate for us to have an open conversation about how we can help you be able to understand that information and make an impact positively in your life. From what I just went over with you, anything you like to share with me? And I'm going to set it up that way. You see how I frame
everything. 100%.
I frame everything. Everybody thinks they need to frame when they get to a buy-in decision and try to pitch them. People in years, and they're going to be here. You can hear in London right now. Here in London, people like cars are going, ah! You want to hear my pitch? You want to hear my pitch? I don't pitch.
Yeah.
I don't have to. If you do this properly, and you do this the way that I'm explaining it, and if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please reach out to me. You need to understand that's one person on the other end of the phone, or business to business, if you're doing face-to-face sales or whatever, that's just another person, man.
Yeah. No, I love
they
it.
have the buying need, want, will, desire of anything you're selling. And if it's not in the right interest of them, then you don't do anything. But I'm not going to get to the second phase of the conversation on my first call if I know that this isn't a right fit for you. They're going to appreciate you more.
100%. That honesty is that rapport. You're building that commonality, that trust, right?
100%.
I love it.
They need to feel you. They don't need to. The people that I've come in contact with, and this kind of, you've seen it into my name, and the reason why I have the rights reserved, there's nothing more important than my name. And I'm not going to have my name in someone's mouth telling someone that I sold them on a product or service or good. It doesn't happen.
No. I love it.
It doesn't happen.
For all our young listeners, which we do have a good amount of young entrepreneurs that are listening to this, I hope you see how learning to communicate, not sell, communicate is so important. I mean, that's a huge aspect. It's not the sale part. It's to communicate. And like I said, building a picture, building a rapport, there's so many levels to it. So I love that part.
And from those levels, what will happen is you'll get a result from you communicating. Then you can start recording your meetings. I highly suggest this to happen.
Yeah.
You need to record yourself. I know that you probably sound stupid. You think you do. Yeah. I don't like the sound of my voice. But it was an essential part of my growth process of me recording myself. I would go into the supermarket, and I'd be the guy walking and going to get pickles. I know we mentioned pickles, so that's my loop back. Walking to get pickles, and I would go, shit, just like that in the middle of the supermarket. I'm listening to myself for a missed opportunity I just had. Yeah. I didn't ask that what, when, why, how question. I didn't ask the diagnostic question. I should have framed that piece a little bit more.
You're learning from your own mistakes.
Gotta learn.
Yeah.
And when you're learning that way, here's what happens when you have a missed opportunity. You can get on the phone the next time. Jeff, before we kind of get going with this, and yes, I'm 100% prepared for our meeting because I tell them that.
Yeah.
I'm going to spend my time to make sure that I'm going to prepare myself for this meeting and any kind of questions, comments, concerns you send in. Before we kind of get going, I'm going to need to apologize to you real quick. I missed an opportunity. And here's what happened, and here's what I should have did. Please accept my apology. Be like, oh, no, you're doing that because they're going to feel that heart message.
Yeah.
And it's always, when you do it that way, it's never about the product or service or good or popsicle t-shirt or whatever the fuck you're selling. It's about you having that connection with that person and going, I'm here for you. I'm not here for this. I'm not here for that. I'm not here for this. I'm here to make an impact with you. And I'm not going to ruin your experience of being sold by me. That's how much I care about what I do.
Love it. I love it.
And that's how I'm able to make an impact in sales, marketing, operation, and fulfillment. And I align all that shit together.
I love it. I love it. Chris, that was a lot of information.
That was a lot. Yeah, sorry.
I love it. No, it's awesome.
What I do. I go in.
I love it. Our audience is going to take a ton of that for a 6-minute hump day because I try to infuse our 6-minute hump day.
6 minute?
We're a little over. It's okay.
Okay.
Our little 6-minute hump day is I try to infuse it with as much education in a very short period. And I mean, you probably have like 4 or 5 little lessons there when it comes to, I know you're only saying it, sales and helping people learn how to communicate and stuff like that. I love it. On our show notes, I'm going to get all the information, how to get a hold of Chris, how to learn more from Chris, how to tune in into the Win-Win Effect podcast, which is Chris is a co-host of with his partner, Wes. Yep. Amazing person. I'm grateful we connected. We have a full episode coming on with Chris in a few weeks. It's going to be epic. I want you guys to tune into that. And thank you so much, brother. Any last minute you want to say?
Man, I'm grateful. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
This is awesome, brother. This is awesome. Thank you so much, brother.
All right, y'all take care.
Okay.